Good evening, everyone. We are coming to you live today. We have some breaking news that's coming in this evening. I'm joined today. I'm one of your co-hosts, Boss, and the chosen one. How y'all doing this evening? We know that we're coming on with some breaking news this evening. We know we've heard the. I know some of you all have probably already heard already that President Joe Biden has stepped down from the presidency of the United States. Uh, Joe Biden pretty much released a letter to the country. I'll read it real quick. It says, "My fellow Americans, I have decided not to accept the nomination and to focus all my energies on my duties as president for the remainder of my term. My first decision as the party nominee in 2020 was to pick Kamala Harris as my VP. It's been the best decision of my life." Mhm. He said it has been one of the best decisions of my life. He said, "Today I want to offer my full endorsement to Kamala Harris to be the nominee of our party this year's Democrat this year. Democrats, it's time to come together and beat Trump, and let's do this." Responses? Any comments? I know it's been, like they say, it's been a busy news Sunday.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Uh, I just think, regardless of political affiliation, we all should just take a moment to acknowledge the dedication and service of our president right now, Joe Biden. As he steps down, we want to wish him well and look forward to the continued progress of the country under new leadership. And may the next chapter bring unity, charity, wisdom, and prosperity to all Americans. Now we can move forward.
I agree. Over the past couple of months, we've all been hearing not the yeah, I say over the past couple of months, it's been a couple of trips here and there, but we've been hearing a lot of defections and stuff from the party, and now that we pretty much at this situation at this standstill on where does the party go at from this point. And that's pretty much what our whole opposition has been pretty much been over this time is just that, okay, if not Joe, then who? Then who? So
Kamala.
go ahead.
Kamala.
Kamala.
He
Some
endorsed.
people say Kamala, but from what I've been hearing and what I've been reading on is that a lot of people are not 100% behind Kamala. A lot of people feel that Kamala was pretty much just like a quick pick for President Biden to pick her during the 2020 campaign run. And there's a lot of Democrats on the other side that are also been talking about that they don't know if they want to even support a candidate like Kamala Harris for the presidency. Now that's where it pretty much came into context where we're looking at, okay, if we're gonna be voting for Kamala Harris as the presidential nominee, how do the folks in the Democratic Party feel about that? But it also brought me to this one particular point where over the past 30 years, I've been doing my researches as far as looking at different avenues about what has happened during these times. Because I guess the last time we had like a candidate that pretty much dropped out of the presidential race so close to an election, they all lost. My question is, are we going down this same path all over again? But I want to turn the audience attention to let me see, let me pull up this video here. To Adam Lichtman, who has a presidential predictor. He has 13 keys to win the White House, and this goes back for over 40 years. And he's uh, predicted the presidency in 13, not 13, and out of the last couple of out of the last couple of election cycles. So what I want to do is I want to play this video, and then we'll come back and we'll respond on that side, and then we'll also talk about who are going to be some of the potential presidential people that are looking to run for the position for presidency.
winning streak. The distinguished professor of history at American universities, Alan Lichtman, has accurately predicted the winner of the presidential election for the past 40 years. So what does he have to say about 2024? Well, as they say during the drafts, the pick is in. And Professor Lichtman joins us once again. I feel like we do this every 4 years. We get to have this conversation. Who did you pick for 2024? Who is leading your score sheet?
Well, I haven't made a final prediction yet.
Okay.
Because things are still very fluid on my 13 keys to the White House. However, I can tell you some important insights. First of all, forget all the pundits who say, Biden should step aside for a younger candidate. The Democrats' only chance to win is with Biden running. One of my keys is incumbency. He wins that. Another one is contest. He wins that. On my system, 6 negative keys would have to go against the Democrats to predict their defeat. That means 6 more keys would have to fall. Biden doesn't run. The Democrats lose both those keys, and only 4 more keys would have to fall. So where do we stand right now? First of all, forget the pundits who don't have a theory of how elections work. Unlike the keys, which tap into the structure of elections, which is a vote up or down on the strength and performance of the White House party. Forget the polls, which are momentary snapshots, not predictors, as we learned in 2016. So right now, remember, 6 keys and Biden is out. He has definitively lost 2 keys. My first key, the mandate key, because they lost U.S. House seats in 2022, and key 12, incumbent charisma, he's no John F. Kennedy or Franklin Roosevelt. There are also 4 shaky keys, all of which would have to fall to predict Biden's defeat. Third party, how strong will RFK Jr. emerge as we get closer to the election? He's been all over the map so far. Social unrest, which I thought was pretty safe, but now we've seen all these campus protests. Will they be sustained over the next months? And of course, both foreign policy keys, success and failure, are shaky given the wars in the Middle East and in Ukraine. So a lot would have to go wrong on all of these keys for Biden to lose, but that's still possible.
Sure.
So stay tuned, Steve.
Yeah.
Final prediction in August.
Okay, so here's my final question for you, Professor, because you're absolutely right. We're not even into May yet, so we do have a long way to go. But it sounds like what you're saying right now is that if the election was held today, you would give a slight advantage to President Biden based on your keys. But it sounds very, very close. What do you think? And I know it's impossible to look into the future, but of the shaky keys, which might be the most likely to be shaken up a little bit more between now and November?
Yeah, I really don't expect Biden to lose key number 4, the third party. It's not even clear how many ballots RFK Jr. is going to get. And these third party candidates tend to fade as you get closer to the election. I think the keys that are in greatest jeopardy and that you need to watch very carefully are foreign policy, success and failure, and social unrest.
And those are 2 things that we are literally dealing with right now. Again, no way to know what happens with both of those keys between now and November. We're going to keep an eye on that along with everything else. And again, your final pick will be when? In August?
In August. So stay tuned, Steve.
All right. We'll look forward to seeing you.
Now, after listening to Adam Lichtman, he pretty much predicted everything up to this point. So now we're just waiting on just 6 more of the keys to drop, which is third party incumbency. You already got the incumbency key. So now it's looking like, okay, well, if Kamala Harris was to mess up during the convention, but now we're not even looking at that point anymore. So now we're pretty much just like the Democrats are looking at it like this. We're just treading all this water. And where we're going to go at from now, the ship has sailed, but we don't have Biden on that ship. Chosen one?
I just think it's the best thing to do is transition is important, as we have minimal time to prepare to go against the Republican candidate of, Donald Trump. I think the transition would be smoother. It just makes more sense to go with somebody's already living there. Somebody's already in the mix there. You know what I mean? And I just want to commend Biden, man, because a leader's ability, bro, to how can I put this? To recognize when it's time to pass the torch.
Yeah,
Man,
that's a hard thing to do.
Man,
like you've been doing something for 54 years of your entire life.
Bro,
it's a hard thing to do. And then when you got somebody that's just sitting up there, they're constantly pushing you, the pundits, trying to slice and dice you one way. It's hard. And he's 81 years old. And we all knew that he was old. We knew he was old in 2020. But it was just like, we live for normalcy than to have a person that's damn near not senile, but damn near batshit, excuse my French, it's crazy. I don't want to get us demonetized. But that's something to think about. Now, if you look at the potential running mates that Democrats may pick to join a Harris ticket, here are some of the people that are listed. You got Governor Gretchen Whitmer, who was the governor of Michigan. She flipped that state from red to blue from Trump in 2016, in 2020. You got Governor Shapiro, the newly elected governor 4 years ago, who was the governor of Pennsylvania 2 years ago, during the so-called red wave. Governor Gavin Newsom from California, Governor Roy Cooper from North Carolina, which he is a two-term governor inside of a deep ruby red state in North Carolina. He's the governor of North Carolina, in which it happens to be a ally of Vice President Kamala Harris, in which he also worked with her as a colleague during those times. Then you also have Governor Andy Beshear from Kentucky, which is a ruby red state. Senator Mark Kelly, which is a highly decorated war hero from the great state of Arizona, who is actually seated inside of former and deceased member of the Senate, John McCain. And then you have Governor J.B. Pritzker from Illinois. So those are some of the potential picks of what the Democrats are saying, that this is pretty much a short list, but we intend for this list to grow. But with that being said, the chosen one, my thing is that we've been hearing a lot of talk. I know you all see the backdrop, and I know you seen the thumbnail when you first came in. You see all these different people that are up here on this on my particular backdrop. Let me just zoom in real quick. If you can see my backdrop here, I'll move out the way. We got Governor Newsom. You got Vice President Kamala Harris, and then you have President Joe Biden, and you have Michelle Obama. And like a lot of people are starting to say around many circles that I've been looking at, they said President Obama has not came out and endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris for the potential VP pick, not VP pick, but for the potential pick for president. And I was like, I said, well, in previous years, from what I've been known from watching President Obama, he's never gotten behind whoever was the potential nominee, because his main thing is just to make sure that we have an open dialogue, and it needs to be like people need to go, not people, but the delegates now, since it's going to be up to the delegates, it's not going to be up to the American people to go and vote. So now it's going to be up to the delegates to be able to select the presidential candidate for this upcoming cycle. So now we're just pretty much at this wait and see. So I know that tomorrow is supposed to be like some type of virtual roll call where they're going to the Democratic Party is going to be on the call tomorrow, and they're all going to be talking to potential delegates. I think it's like 4,000 and something delegates that are all pledged Joe Biden delegates. Let's put that out there. They're pledged Joe Biden delegates. So now, since Joe Biden has pretty much released his delegates, Now it's going to be an open, but they want an open process at the convention. So if you're going to get rid of somebody, you got to have a plan in place. So the question is, what is the plan that's in place? The number one plan is to beat Donald Trump on day one. That's the number one thing. Number two, the number two part of the plan is that, okay, who do we pick as the top of the ticket, in which a lot of circles, they want to push Biden, Harris completely out of the ticket, in which if they do that, you're going to see a big revolt from the main two caucuses that make up the Democratic Party, which is people of color, Latino, Latinx, and African American community. If you can't get those two and you can't sum up that base, you lose them. Now, okay, now they turn around and they say, okay, well, since Obama hasn't endorsed, maybe there may be a potential Michelle Obama could be a possible presidential pick, in which the Democrats, not the Democrats, but the Republicans, which they are afraid of a Michelle Obama. If you look at all of the polls head to head, Michelle Obama mops the floor with Donald Trump by 11 points if the election was held today. But we can't talk in hypotheticals. We only can talk about what we have that's in front of us right now. So my question is to you, the chosen one, is that, okay, you push Joe out, like you were telling me earlier today. Okay, you push Joe out. What is it that we can be able to see from a woman candidate? What talk about the qualities of what a woman can be able to bring to a ticket at the top of the ticket, like you were telling me earlier.
Well, I just being raised by a woman, by a real woman, by a set of real women. I just know that women are nurturers by nature. Let's just say that. When men tend to be, don't care about a lot of things, women do, man. I'm just gonna say a lot of stuff that I don't care about, a woman makes a big stink about it. And I think having a woman right now in the state that our country is in, somebody who's gonna micromanage every little piece, every little detail. Somebody who's strong enough, who ain't gonna back down. Somebody who know about Roe v. Wade, who can go back at him. Hey, the sister is, perfectly positioned to transition. Right into the seat. Women all over America have the chance of a lifetime to actually make history. That's for all women, not just black women. That's for women, period. Men
Right.
We as black men have experience having a black president. African American women haven't experienced that. Jesus went live and said our president is black.
Yeah.
He celebrated that. Now it's time for women to have to make history and have the chance to celebrate a woman in power. And just this time, I think giving Kamala the power, I don't think it's just such a bad idea, bro. Giving that kind of power, whatever the address, Pennsylvania power, to a woman, I just don't think it's such a bad idea, because women do care. And they are nurturers by nature. Women carry the church. Women carry the world. Without a woman, this world would not go on. And I'm just being perfectly honest. I ain't hating on no men. I ain't trying to get no cool points from no women. I'm just telling you from experience that I know without a woman, this world would not be held together.
I agree with you on that. But our one thing is, okay, my one thing is that I don't like how party heads are pretty much trying to push this ticket out the way. They're not trying to look at the bigger dynamic that's at play here, because there's a lot of people that really love President Biden, in which they should, because this man has given this, and he's gave half of his life to this country. He's gave over 50 years of his life to this country. The man is 81. We knew he was getting old. We knew Joe was old. We knew what we signed up for in 2020, like you just mentioned.
Yes, we did.
in which we understood that let me see, from what I was hearing today from some of the talking heads and some of the pundits and stuff around the country, is that from the other side, I can say from the GOP side, the GOP has been pretty much saying, "Oh, Kamala Harris is just another DEI pick," which a lot of people which don't know what DEI is diversity, equity, and inclusion, in which the Supreme Court pretty much just wiped out from his book, saying that we don't need affirmative action to be able to make sure that we put people of color into higher positions inside of the workforce. It's like a slap in the face to people of color. Like, okay, well, if you're looking at it like a DEI pick, then if you're looking at it as a DEI pick, then what about the vice presidential candidate vice presidential candidate from the Republican side? He has a wife that's of Asian American ethnicity. What do you look at that as? You needed some more color on the ticket in order to be able to be more electable. But up under this Project 2025, it says that all immigrants, 10 million is going to be mass deportation, in which back in June of this year, it pretty much said that if you're born or you're married to somebody in this country, it doesn't make you into a citizen into this country, meaning that you too can be deported. So my question is, when you looked on the stage at the RNC, so do you look at Melania Trump? Do you look at JD Vance's wife? Do you look at them as potential people that's going to be on this mass deportation list? That's my question. So my thing is, hey, if you want to start changing rules in the middle of the game and you want to try to make things work for your side, okay, be it as it may, but don't try to doggone force your policies down the throats of people that you're not going to follow, right or wrong.
Right.
So,
my brother, we've been through this as Miami Heat fans. Me and you have been through this.
Right.
In mid-season, we had to switch coaches, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't it work out for us?
Yeah, it worked out.
We've seen actually a transition from us being in a bad situation, transitioning in a detrimental part of the season to a brand new coach, an older coach at that.
Right.
You know, somebody who was preferably in other eyes washed up, didn't have it. You know, but we've seen this work before. Me and you firsthand. America has seen it work before. The Miami Heat have transitioned from one person to the next and actually won the championship in the same year. You know, so it can be done. You know, I just think Kamala is the best transition right now. We don't have time to lace nobody up and for them to come up with a whole new campaign and their slogan and all of this stuff. Stuff is already set in place. We just got to get on board and run around. A woman's ability to adapt, I'm pretty sure, I'm 100% sure she's ready for it, bro. Probably been ready for it, bro. You know?
I totally agree with you on that. But this is my one thing is that, okay, now that the smoke is pretty much starting to clear on this end, we starting to see that a bigger focus is starting to come into play. We don't know exactly because Kamala Harris, I'm going to read a statement that was released by her on Twitter, via Twitter, after the news had broken for President Biden's departure from the top of the ticket. She said, on the behalf of the American people, she said, I thank Joe Biden for his extraordinary leadership as president of the United States and for his decades of service to our country. I am honored to have the president's endorsement, and my intention is to earn and win this nomination, meaning that it's going to be an open process at the DNC. But the question is, what type of process are we going to see? Are we going to see a process that is going to be is going to be people driven, or is it going to be the elite driven? Because right now, if you really look at this, with the forcing out of Joe is just pretty much like a push out of the commander in chief for somebody else. And it's pretty much like the elites and the people, the money of the party, and they're saying, "Oh, we're losing money, we're losing money, we're losing money." I think ever since Citizens United was put in play back in 2000, and I think it was 2006, 2004. Ever since that ruling came down from the Supreme Court, that pretty much told you, okay, big business and money is going to always decide our candidates going forward. And which I think money shouldn't even be in politics. I think that if you're going to be running for office, do it the old-fashioned way. Get people to donate to your campaign. Get people to donate $20 or $10 or $5 to your campaign. We don't need to have this same old charades that they're always playing. Or since I can't curse, we're gonna call it poppycock. Like these pundits constantly always been pushing. Well, media, you got what you wanted. You got rid of Joe. Now you're all like, okay, dang, this was like the biggest story that you wanted to cover. Now they're not even talking about it. Now you got the Republican party on the other side. They running in shambles. They are afraid. They're like, oh my God. Well, they said she was a failed prosecutor. No, they said, oh no, she's a law and order Democrat. And now they're saying, okay, well, she was a failed czar on the southern border, in which she just pretty much did a drive-by the border but never got out the car. Okay, we understand it. But if you look at it, we have immigration is down coming in from the southern border. We don't have anybody coming over the border at this point because of the Biden-Harris policies right now. You have President Biden has signed an executive order 2 years ago in which they said that it's by far it's been working at the southern border, meaning there's nobody coming in that's illegal. But if you hear from the other side, they're gonna constantly talk about, oh, we got all this crime running rampant and all this stuff, and that it sounds like that the sky is falling out of the the sky is falling and the ground is burning. And we don't see any of that stuff happening. Right now they're talking about, interest, not interest, they're saying that that inflation is overwhelmingly, it's so freaking high. Well, when President Biden got in the office, it was at 9%. Now it's all the way down to 3%. And then next month, they're saying it's going to be even lower. It's going to be probably at 1%, in which the feds are talking about a cut to the interest rate in September. But they won't talk about Donald Trump calling the Fed chairman and saying, hey, don't cut interest rates. It won't look good for me. Mm-hmm. But this is where we're at. Interest rates have to come down. Biden economy is working. Our economy is rival among the world right now because of how fast we bounced back from COVID since 2020. But now, I don't know if you heard about some of the reporting that has been coming out about former President Trump's flesh wound that he received in Butler, Pennsylvania, during this campaign rally. From what they're saying that Donald Trump does not want to release his medical records in regards to what took place in Butler about his injuries. Now that should just make everybody just feel very alarmed about that. Why you don't want to release your medical records? If you were shot, let us see what happened. Well, I got a story that I was following. I'm just gonna get that pulled up here real quick. Hold on 1 second. Let me see if I can get this story pulled up. From the doctors that were at the as a matter of fact, let me take it over to this real quick. I want to go and look at this on this one news story, and I'm gonna come back to it after we listen in to what's being said. I want to turn it over to I want you all to listen to this story that's dropping for Ben Kroenke. He's breaking down how does a Trump-Harris matchup would change the election race for 2024. And we're going to look at this real quick, and then what I'm going to do is we're going to bring it back onto the we'll come back and we'll talk about it on the other side, because I got 2 more videos I want to show you before we get off And I just want to highlight a couple other things. But here's the story that I was just telling you about Biden dropping out of the race, and what are going to be some of the what would a hypothetical matchup look like between a Trump Harris matchup during this race. Hold on one second, and here we go.
Right now to the 2024 race now, we're taking a look at what the polls show in a head-to-head matchup between Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Trump. NBC News national political correspondent Steve Kornacki joins me now to kind of walk us through it all. Steve?
Yeah, Lester, I mean, that is the strategic question for Democrats. They were concerned about Joe Biden's ultimate ability to win this election. If they do end up with Kamala Harris as their presidential candidate now, does it change the basic political realities they were worried about? So look at it this way. This is the average of all of the national polls conducted since that debate at the end of June that started all of this. And you see the average, Biden trailing Trump by 2 points nationally. Of course, very significant, not just that Biden was behind, but if you went back 4 years to 2020, there really was no point in the entire campaign when Biden trailed Trump in the national average. So that made that even more significant. But okay, since that debate, these polls have also started to ask, well, what about Kamala Harris as the Democratic nominee, offering respondents that choice as well. And the polls that have tested both of them, here's the average for Harris versus Trump. Not much different. Harris does do a point better than Biden. 45 goes to 46, and the average Trump stays at 47. So at least at the beginning, if Democrats do go with Harris, they'd be taking a candidate trailing by 2 on average, replacing with a candidate who trails by 1 on average. Of course, the question is the introduction of Kamala Harris as a presidential candidate, the Democratic convention, the new attention on her. Would that help those numbers? Would that improve them? Conversely, would that hurt those numbers potentially if the rollout doesn't go that well? Those are some of the variables, though. But that's the starting point on head-to-head. And we also look at the basic image of each candidate when we ask the question, favorable or unfavorable view do you have? Again, the average for Joe Biden has been very bad. 36% favorable, 57% unfavorable. Now, Kamala Harris, where does she clock in here? Little bit better, but not much. 36 to 38 on the favorable side, and the unfavorable comes down 57 to 52. Meanwhile, Donald Trump, who she'd like to run against now, you see where he stands. These numbers are a bit better for him than they've been in the past. 41% favorable, 55 unfavorable. And again, whether it's Kamala Harris or if it happens to be anybody else, whoever emerges as the Democratic candidate, just the basic challenge they're facing is this. Here is the road to 270 electoral votes, and you see the 6 core swing states right here that are expected to decide the presidency. You see Harris would have to win a number of those states here. But the other challenge for her, and something that drove Biden from this race, is that Democrats were starting to get indications outside of these battleground states of unexpected trouble in places like Virginia, New Hampshire, Maine. In the popular vote in Maine, they give out electoral votes by congressional district there, even potentially in a state like Minnesota. So for Harris or whoever the Democratic nominee becomes, the two challenges are, first of all, shore up states like that Democrats weren't expecting to have to sweat over, and then get to work in those battleground states. Again, all those battleground states in 2020 were Joe Biden states, Lester.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and time.
Now I'm just going to play this video real quick. It's going to be giving us some insight. Did you hear that? Let me play this one more time.
Finally have some more insight into the shooting. Trump's doctor released a letter about it, saying that he sustained a gunshot wound to the top of his right ear from an assault rifle that produced a 2-centimeter wide wound, and that he was treated by the medical staff at Butler Memorial Hospital in Butler, PA. But if we look just a little closer, you'll see that the doctor who authored this report is Ronnie Jackson, the unhinged Republican congressman from Texas who turned Trump's White House into a pill mill and quite literally isn't even a licensed physician anymore. So if you're just a little skeptical about what Ronnie Jackson has to say, you're not the only one. So we finally
now the chosen one.
Mm-hmm.
Now my question is, okay, you heard both stories. Okay, you see exactly what the hypothetical matchup between the Trump and the Harris would get you. 58%. Let me see. It's 58% is her unfavorable to Trump. No, Trump's 58% unfavorable. And then you have Harris's numbers tick up 2 points to it ticks up to 46% in the nationwide hypothetical. And so they're talking about all these northerner states are all starting to break now. Last I checked, I thought that we didn't pick presidents in June. I thought we picked them in November, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes,
now,
sir.
if we're looking at polls this far out from an election cycle, this far out in the election cycle, okay. Now we see what's gonna what's starting to work its way out. We know in a couple of days, I say probably, let me see, the next poll will probably come out in probably Friday. I'd probably say Thursday of this week, and we'll probably get some more insight on where we're gonna be standing at on the polls. But now we seen that part. What's your what's your opinion on that? What looking at the hard numbers about Trump and Kamala at this point?
Well, for Kamala to be in the background as the number two, not in the limelight as the number one. You know, she was the number two, not the one, but now she's the one and not the two. And I think the debates, the head-on-head showdowns, this woman she's ready for that. This is going to be exciting. This is going to be much watch TV. Her going head to head with Trump because her rebuttals are going to be really good as well as his. You know what I mean? This is really going to be, I think her debate, when we see her in action against him, how she stand up, the strength, the resilience, her ability to be flexible, you know, her leadership skills, you know, how she stands up to him, will bump that up way more when America actually sees who Kamala Harris really is.
Right. I agree. Now let's talk about, okay, we looked at the poll average, which when Biden was on the ticket was 45-47. That's 2 points. Now you look at Kamala Harris now in the average of average national polls as of June 30th to July 18th, 46-47. Okay, we see those numbers. Now let's look at let me fast forward this a little bit. Okay, now here we are right here. Okay, that's the average poll is 46-47 Trump. So meaning that Kamala is only down by 1 point in this poll. Now you look at Biden's polls of opinions, favorable or unfavorable. You have Joe Biden at 36% to 57% unfavorable. Now let me fast forward a little bit. And now you look at Kamala Harris poll numbers. You have her at 38% to 52% unfavorable. Now we'll fast forward and we're gonna put Trump into context. Now you see Trump's favorable is 41% to Kamala Harris 38% favorable. What that is, that's a 3-point swing, correct? And then you have his unfavorables at 55%. So technically, Kamala looks like she's going to probably be the more favorable candidate going into this election cycle. But you won't hear that from the right. So now when we put those numbers in context, now it brings us back to the bigger picture, like you just said. Now we got an opportunity to see what Kamala can really do. She's going to have to do a reintroduction tour. Send her out to a couple of town halls over the next couple of days and see how she does with talking and going to taking the stance of the Biden-Harris administration and taking it out to the public and asking how do they feel about her candidacy right now. That's the question. That's what we're going to ultimately get down to, is about where does Kamala really stand inside of this in this fight, of which she's going to be a part of over these next coming months, in which we know that the Republican Party is going to throw everything but the kitchen sink at her, and they want to see what's going to stick and what's not going to stick. So now let me see. I got one more thing that I want to talk about before we get ready to get off of this breaking news Sunday, which we're going to be coming back with more information over the next couple of days on, as far as who's going to be some potential picks going into the election cycle coming up. Hold on one second. I got one other video I wanted to play. In regards to Trump. I'm gonna pull up his Truth Social account real quick. So with Trump, one second, I'm just getting this Truth Social account pulled up. Hold on. And I'm going to read directly from his Truth Social account at The Real Donald Trump. I'm going to put this up so that way the people can see exactly what we're talking about and what he's saying. Okay. Here it is. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see that there on your side, the chosen one?
What you I don't see nothing.
Okay, let me go ahead and pull it up. Okay, there we go.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna read this. It says, so we are forced to spend our time and money on fighting Crooked Joe Biden. He polls badly after having a terrible debate and quits the race. Now we have to start all over again. I'm gonna say how he said, should the Republican Party be reimbursed for our fund for fraud, and that everybody around Joe, including his doctors and the fake news media, knew he was not capable of running for or being president? Just asking. My debate with Crooked Joe Biden was the worst president in the history of the United States. Was slated to be broadcast on fake news, ABC, the home of George Sloppolopoulos, sometimes in September. Now that Joe has not surprisingly has quit the race. He misspelled. He's got that wrong. Not surprisingly, has quit the race. I think the debate with whomever the radical left Democrats choose should be held on Fox News rather than the very biased ABC. Thank you, DJ TJ. Now, does anybody really believe that Crooked Joe had COVID? No one wanted to get. No one. No. He wanted to get out of ever since June 27, the night of the debate, where he was completely obliterated. That was the big moment in Joe's demise. That was at the point in time when Joe was revealed for what he is, incompetent, who should never have been president. Joe Biden is not fit to serve. He's destroying our country. Crooked Joe knocked out. So now I have to do it a fourth time. So he's still saying that Biden lost the election and that he's going to win a fourth time. This is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous, but
it's so asinine.
It's ridiculous as a leader. That's why the world needs to commend Biden, because a leader's ability to recognize when it's time to pass the torch or when to submit when you actually lose. You know, when it's indeed a sign of strong leadership and a commitment for the greater good of America. Man, that take courage, bro. humility, bro, and a willingness to put the need of the country ahead of your personal ambition. Something we know that other guy won't do, and still haven't submitted after almost 4 years of losing. This man is still on a rant. So Joe Biden's decision to step down, bro, it just demonstrates a selfless commitment to the country's future by recognizing the need for new leadership, bro. I mean, that just showed the nation that the interests of the nation come first. We should honor that, bro.
That's true.
Bro, we should honor that, bro. That's to be commended, bro. I've never seen a leader firsthand willingly, bro, because it's so easy to take that the wrong way. You know what I mean? It's so easy. You got Pennsylvania power, bro. You the powerfulest man in the world, and to hear somebody you served 8 years with, as in Obama, people that you are in the same coop with, the same camp with, tell you that, hey, man, the best thing for you to do is probably to, step down. So, man, we should commend this, because Biden has showed us that criticism, bro, whether positive or negative, bro, is an opportunity for growth, not a definition of your worth.
You're right. Hey, what does the scripture say about somebody having to know when it's time to relinquish power compared to one Donald Trump?
Well, we know Donald Trump. He ain't gonna relinquish no power. He ain't gonna relinquish now.
The question is, like he's been saying, he said, "Hey, I want to know." A lot of people are talking about.
But I have a script whenever.
Oh, go ahead. I'm waiting on you.
Yeah, I'm looking it up now. Make sure I'm quoting it in the right fashion for all those.
Oh, and let me read this last one that he said. He said, "Crooked Joe Biden is the worst president by far in the U.S. history of our nation. He has done everything possible to destroy our country, from our southern border to energy dominance, national security, international standing, and so much more. He was annihilated in an earth-shattering debate, and now the corrupt and radical Democrats are throwing him overboard. He was not fit to serve from the very beginning, but the people around him lied to America about his complete and total mental, physical, cognitive demise. Whoever the left puts up now would just be more of the same. Make America great again." This man is hilarious. And look at this. He got all these Photoshop pictures of people that he claimed to have put in bandages on their ear and stuff. Look at this. Let me see. Can you see that? Hold on. Let me pull this up. Look at this. Look at this foolishness. This is who everybody wants to reelect. I don't get it. Are we gonna go from now with the page being turned? Now Trump becomes the old candidate.
Yes, sir.
He's the old candidate now. So my question is, if he's gonna be the old candidate, now the Democrats should turn all their weight to
Back
him
on.
being the crazy old man that's get off my lawn, old man.
So all the old jokes that he was using now pertains to him. So
Right.
what's good for one should be good for all, because I'm pretty sure him and any of the presidential candidates that's finna come up in this race will be 20 years younger than him.
Right.
Per se.
Hey,
So, hey, what you use that fuel probably finna put you on fire.
Yeah, it's gonna put him on fire because guess what? He hasn't even dealt with none of this stuff
Lord
right
have
here
mercy.
during this election cycle. Oh, y'all want to thank all my viewers that we have that's tuning in right now. If you got any questions that you want to ask the panel, chime in. If you got anything you want to say, chime in. We'll love to hear your feedback of how you feel. You're the American people. It's gonna come down to you at the end of the day. How you gonna vote? How are you going to make sure that who's ever's going to be our next commander in chief going ahead? Do you want somebody that's a deranged old man that's a psychopath that pretty much is on granddad's last rocker? Let's not forget now, because if Trump is elected 4
Bad
years from now, he's
sportsmanship.
going to be in the same boat that Joe Biden is in.
Terrible sportsmanship. Terrible.
Oh, what? Man, he's a sore loser. He's been a sore loser. This man lost at everything. He lost everything in Manhattan. He lost a
The
lot of
next
stuff.
show, we're going to go over leadership skills, and we're going to see if he have checked how many boxes he checked as far as leadership skills. Because being able to submit, being able to listen to others, letting other people operate in their functions, their abilities, that's important in leadership, man. You have to let people do their job.
Right.
Point blank, period.
Now, this is my next question I want to ask you though. Can you go ahead and give me that scripture?
Or it say, be humble and faithful over a few things, and I'll make you ruler over many.
That's a good word.
So let's just elaborate on that a little bit. Be humble and faithful over a few things. Let's compare the two candidates thus far. Trump, has he been humble?
No.
Has he been faithful?
No, sir.
He's a criminal. He's going through court cases right now. So let's just use the Bible as a strategic way to point out who's the better candidate. I ain't picking sides. I don't have a pick right now, but I'm just trying to say. But Kamala, the scripture say, be humble and faithful over a few things, and I'll make you rule over many. Does Kamala check both of those things?
Yes, sir.
So what God finna do? Make a rule over many.
Make a rule over many.
Bro, one thing about it, I ain't finna get in front of what God trying to do. God, I see you. And I'm not so much of a man and built up with all this testosterone where I'm just so hell-bent on not being under the leadership of a woman. Because like I said in the beginning, women are nurturers by nature. They care.
Okay, there we go. We had lost signal from our Wi-Fi, so we back up now. Go ahead, repeat that last part.
And like I say, women are nurturers by nature. I will not get in the way of what God's trying to do, but the scripture does says, be humble and faithful over a few things, and we will make you ruler over many. And I just think way the transition is going, how things has opened up for Kamala. She haven't backstabbed Biden. She haven't talked down on him one time. She haven't undermined him. This sister has went about this situation totally right, bro. In all aspects of transition, bro, for Biden to do what he did, bro, for her to transition like she's transitioned to have the opportunity, it's just good to see, bro. I just think seeing that makes me think that the world is going in a better direction, bro. Because it's easy to take positive and negative criticism wrong. And when you got that kind of power, bro, when people telling you to step down, it's so easy to let your pride get in the way, your ego get in the way. I'm the president. I beat him last time. I can beat him again. It's so easy to take that approach, man. Biden is to be commended, bro. I just want people to understand what this man just really displayed. I have never really seen this with people in power, like that kind of power. He really displayed that leadership is not about holding on, but it's about lifting up.
Right.
This man showed this, bro. His decision to step down, bro. That it reminds us of true strength.
You're right. Let me see. That what you're saying right now? Let me read a Dr. King quote.
Oh my God.
Hold on one second.
See, I'm just trying to get the message what Biden displayed, what the world is really, what's really gonna go washed under the rug. This man just really displayed the type of person that he really is. That man is a good dude, bro.
Say that last part again.
I say that man is a good dude, bro. He's a good dude. What he just displayed to the world, bro, that should be commended. No, not many leaders is gonna step down in this situation, bro.
Of course not.
Not many, bro. That pride gonna get in the way.
What does the scripture say about pride? First goes the pride, then goes the fall.
Then goes the fall.
Hold on one second. I'm trying to read this one quote for you real quick because that took you to Dr. King.
This world is in the state that is in because we as people have suffered under leaders who fail to recognize their own limitations, dog, or refuse to relinquish power when it's leading to harm or any kind of injustice, bro. Bro, Biden just displayed that's humility, bro.
Mm-hmm.
That's humility, bro. At its finest, bro. If we want to talk about action, humility being an action, he just showed it.
Exactly. Now this is what it takes me to. After you read that scripture just a second ago, I want to read this from a quote from Dr. King. The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of convenience and comfort, but where he stands at in times of challenge and controversy. So right now, Biden is just showing us that.
Yes, sir.
Dr. King predicted this years ago. He's pretty much put it all into sum up the words. So in other words, for what we're gonna do on MLB F page, we're gonna post this script along with Joe Biden, in context, just showing exactly what type of man he is. Let me read this one more time for our viewers. The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of convenience and comfort, but where he stands at in times of challenge and controversy. So Biden has went through three things of controversy. His party has gone against him. He had the media that's going against him. He had the donor class that's going against him.
Come on now.
So now we're looking at the measurement of what type of man he is during the challenges and controversy. The first thing he did, okay, I'm going to move aside for my party and my country. Because he said, I didn't get into this race 4 years ago because of myself. I got into it was to save this country. He said, I'm coming for the soul of the nation. He said, I'm coming to save the soul of the nation, to get us back on track to where we got to go as a people together. Because when we are together we what it is, together we stand strong, but divided we fall. So if we divide ourselves now, hey, all you gotta do is just go to page 5. Let me see. Let me make sure I got it quoted correctly. Let me quote this correctly. All you gotta do, if you're a person that works on a 40-hour-a-week job, let me just say this like this for you real quick. Project 2025's tax plan proposed for significant increases for families earning $100,000 annually, and with a $2,600 hike for a family of 4. In contrast, those earning $5 million per year will enjoy a substantial tax reduction of $325,000, mirroring a trickle-down policy. Now, if we go ahead and we look at Project 2025, we're looking at what changes to the 40-hour work week to 160-hour work month. So your boss can make you work extra hours without no overtime and cutting your hours later in that month. All you got to do is go see page 592. I'll make sure that I put the links inside of the description of this, so that way you can go ahead and read Project 2025 for yourself. So that way you understand exactly what's in it. See, they don't want to talk about what's going on. They wanted all the attention to stay straight, firmly focused on one President Biden and about his age, but they didn't want you to pay attention to what's going on behind the scenes, where they're making these backdoor deals, against the American workers. Let's talk about that for a second. So if you're gonna make all these backdoor deals with against the American workers, then I got a couple of backdoor people that's ready to come and knock down your charades of what you're trying to hold tight against the American people. So if you're thinking that I'm going to sit back and I'm going to work 160 work hours a month and I'm not going to get paid no overtime, then you might as well go ahead on the self-imposed slavery back into this country again, since that's where we're at, right or wrong. But us as a people, what we got to mainly understand is like, okay, we got a clear cut chance to getting it right this time. Okay, now we got Kamala Harris that's going to be at the top of the ticket. Now we got all these other people that's going to fall in line on who we're going to pick going forward. Now it's all about everything that they thrown at Biden. All of it finna be thrown at them now. Trump too old. Because now he's the oldest candidate to ever get his party's nomination from a convention at the age of 78. Biden don't have to worry about that. He 81. So now you bring in Kamala. She's 59 years old. She's getting ready to be 60 years old in October. So now you got her on the top of the ticket. Now how you going to go at her? Oh, DEI hire. I thought that we live in the country of America where everybody should have a fair shake. Haven't you heard this for far too long from the Republican side talking about pull yourself up by your own bootstraps? But when people start pulling themselves up by their own bootstraps, okay, we don't pull ourselves up. No, that's what you want us to do now. You want us to just go ahead on and fall in line, master, and start picking your cotton and picking your fruit out the fields. In southern Florida, in Georgia, in western California, and also inside of the playing fields inside of Pennsylvania. But you're looking at all this stuff. That's why I said, yeah, I'm pissed. I'm not shocked about the situation about President Biden not being at the top of the ticket. What I'm shocked about is how the media just pretty much just sat back and not even talked about this. But they won't talk about why they're not subpoenaing the hospital where Trump Secret Service a few hours before talked to the hospital about Trump was going to be coming to the hospital. This is during this rally, and all of a sudden we sit back and we like, okay, well, dang, all this stuff is starting to come out. So dang, why we didn't hear any of this stuff before? Now they're saying that Trump wasn't grazed by a bullet, said that he was hit by the ricochet from the glass from his teleprompter. But now, yesterday, he pops up with a brown Band-Aid on his ear, but during the convention, he had, I hate to say this, so for our younger viewers, y'all excuse me for saying this, it was a sanitary napkin that was on his ear. If you know what a sanitary napkin is, Google it. So, now we sit back, we look at Trump. What now? Mr. Trump, checkmate. You don't got every move on the board that you made up to this point. And now you pissed off that Joe Biden is not on there. Let me go back to his rant one more time. Let me let the people see this again. Look at this rant this man went on. He's been going on a rant for the last 4 hours. Look at this. He's been going on a rant. All he's been doing was just talking about, oh, Crooked Joe Biden. Look at this, 2 minutes ago. Biden never had COVID. He is a threat to our democracy. Look at this. 9 minutes ago, it's not over. Tomorrow, Crooked Joe Biden is going to wake up and forget that he dropped out of the race today. Do you see this? This is what you got to deal with. Every single day, this is all he do. Now, with the news breaking 7 hours ago, look at it. All he has been doing was talking about Joe Biden. Does that sound like somebody that's in a position to win this race? Or is he in the position, oh, my bad. I know that nobody didn't see that. Let me go back to this.
Oh,
look at this.
He's in a
position. This is all they've been doing. Look at it.
He's in a position. He's in a position to win the race, but my thing is he the best leader to win this race? Bro, we have to set all this testosterone, this ego, and all this stuff to the side, bro, and start striving for leadership that prioritize the needs of all and recognize that the courage it takes for somebody to actually step aside, bro. Trump is the example of a terrible example of a leader, bro. Biden just showed you the perfect example of a leader. It's like night and day, bro. This man, bro, he stepped aside. Allegedly the most powerful man in the world. Let me put you in his shoes. Everybody that's close to me, my A1 from day one done turned on me. My wife done said it.
Right.
Obama done said it. I done did 8 years with him. Now, yep. I'm going to tell you, by number 2, I just feel like somebody hating on me. Oh, I got a bunch of haters. So now my pride finna get in the way, and I'm finna run anyway to prove y'all wrong. Bro, y'all better recognize what this man did, man. Biden is a real leader, man. What he displayed today should not get swept under the rug, bro. Bro, when a leader with that kind of power steps down in the situation that he's in to do it in the fashion that he did it in, bro, that man has the need of this country. Not just his family, not just his friends, not the people from the grassroots sector. The needs of all. He just displayed that, bro.
Yes, he did. He showed his willingness to do the job as the president of the United States for these last 3.5 years. He also said that he's going to stay on until the end of his term, in which that's going to be approximately 6 months. I think it's about 6 months, give or take. But if you think about it, Biden has been one of our most transformative, most progressive presidents that we've had in a generation. So now with us looking at what President Biden was all about, that's paving the way for a person that's coming in that's gonna just gonna follow him on the ticket per se, because we don't know if that's a slam dunk yet.
He set the tone. Whoever come behind him can't come in with no foolishness. This man just displayed peace, humility, everything that a person supposed to display with leadership. He just displayed it. This man ain't hating. He ain't salty. He ain't bitter. And he endorsed her with everything he had. He ain't leave her with 25% of the bundle. That man endorsed her with 100%. It's no malice, no ill intent in it. That's hard to do, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Man, y'all.
Hey, it is what it is from this point on. So now I want to just do a quick let's do a quick little quick question. I'm gonna ask you a quick 3 questions. I want you to tell me how you feel about it. Okay, tomorrow we're gonna play a little bit of Monday morning quarterback like they do in sports. Let's do a little bit of Monday morning quarterback. Okay, top headlines for tomorrow. President Trump goes on national TV and he slurs 1 million words that he didn't remember. Your comment.
Say it again.
Do you think that'll be a top headline tomorrow?
What?
Donald Trump goes on TV where he's going to be slurring his words and saying individuals' names. Yes or no? Because this is the same thing that happened with Biden. I'm gonna say everything that's happened up to this point with Biden.
Yeah, he already. He'll be telling the world that Kamala crazy and all of that stuff. He gonna paint his narrative because now he knows he's scared of that sister. He's scared of her.
Oh, I know.
He's scared of her.
We all know that.
That's one thing about it. He's scared of that sister. Ready for him. That's the right matchup, but I'm finna tune into every debate, because she's gonna be ready for him. This gonna be juicy.
Say that one more time.
This gonna be juicy, but
hey, It's gonna be something that we never seen before.
Yes, sir. She finna give it to you. She finna give it to you.
It's gonna be something that we never seen before.
Mm-hmm.
But my one thing is, okay, now we sit back and then we say, okay, well,
You can
that's
take
gonna happen right there. Then what?
Kamala finna show y'all that you can take a nigga out the ghetto, but you can't take the ghetto out of me.
All right. Okay. Now the next question I'm gonna ask you real quick. Okay. Trump comes out and say, I was shot in my ear, but it was glass that came from the teleprompter that hit me in my ear during the shooting. These are the headlines for tomorrow. I'm not kidding you, because the media spent what it was greater than a whole month trying to push Biden off the ticket, and they finally did it. Now you don't got no news to report, big bad media. Go ahead. What you gotta say, Doc?
I just think that
Go ahead. Oh, I'm waiting on you.
his ability, Donald Trump lack of I'm just trying to figure out how to put this, because I don't want to make it seem like I'm against the man. I'm still open to my presidential candidate, but his lack of accountability, man, that just suck at leadership, man. A leader has to be accountable, bro. We're not perfect. We all make mistakes, bro. It's just frustrating, man. You're so loser. You ain't humble. You don't take accountability. And you're asking for people to vote for you. The world is in a detrimental state right now.
Correct.
I don't have time for no ifs, ands, and no buts. Because if was a fifth, we will all be.
Now, next question. Would the Republicans come forward tomorrow from the House floor asking for President Biden to resign his post as president of the United States? Yes or no?
Say that again.
Quick response. Would the GOP House members come out tomorrow asking for President Biden to step down as president of the United States? Because they're saying he's unfit to lead if he feels that he's going to be unfit to be president. Yes or no?
No.
Your response?
No. No,
they've already started it.
They asking him to step down for the rest of his term?
Yep.
Oh, that's total disrespect for 54 years. Somebody that dedicated his life to this country and that displayed that he put this country first over his own personal needs. That's totally disrespectful.
Okay. Now, with that being said, I got something I want to turn everybody's attention to real quick. I want to pull up the Republican Party platform for for this election season and what they're going to be pushing out on the campaign trail during the campaign for this fall. Hold on one second. I'm just getting it up. One second, and let me share this screen real quick. Sorry for that about that, viewers, because we are live. And if you have any comments that you would like to share, be my guest and chime in. Hold on one second. Let me get this pulled up. All right, here we go. Should be coming up in 1 second. All right, there it is. All right, we got the Republican National Committee platform, and this is pretty much like the views of it. And here it is, right quick. Okay, to make our clear commitment, we offer the American people of 2024 platform to make America great again. It is forward-looking agenda that begins with the following 20 promises that will accomplish very quickly. When we win the White House and Republican majorities in the House and Senate, One, seal the border and stop the migrant invasion, which is totally false, which we broke that down in previous episodes already here on MLB. Number two, carry out the largest deportation operation in American history. Three, end inflation. Now, when you hear him say those things about carry out the largest deportation of operation in American history, when we look at Project 2025, this is pretty much the blueprint standard of what the GOP is afraid of, because all of our attention has been on how old Joe has been, and now it's going to turn to, oh dang, now the American people are going to pay more attention to what is being suggested inside of the in the Republican platform, in which he said the largest deportation operation in American history. Mind you, he says it's going to go back three generations. So therefore, does that include Melania? Does that include Vice President J.D. Vance's wife? Because he said even though that you're born here in America, it does and married married to somebody that's in this country, meaning that, okay, you're going to be marrying somebody and that's going to give you an opportunity to be able to keep your spouse here. No, that doesn't mean that. That means that they're going to get pushed out of here. Right along with all the 10 million migrants that are here that he claims that are here illegally, but they all came here by interest and by using their credentials in order to be a part of this country. He said, end inflation and make America affordable again. Inflation is down to 3%. We talked about it on our previous show. Go back and take an opportunity and look at it. Make America the dominant energy producer in the world by far. The United States is producing more energy than it's ever did under President Biden, which that's why I said that President Biden is one of the most consequential presidents that we've had in this generation, in which he has. We're already drilling our own oil right now, in which he's saying that's not happening, which is false. What the Republicans are saying, which is false. Five, stop outsourcing and turn the United States into a manufacturing superpower. That has already happened. We are producing chips here with the CHIPS Act. The CHIPS Act is one part of that infrastructure and also a part of the Infrastructure Act, which has brought more manufacturing jobs here back to this country. It's not outsourcing them how they were getting outsourced during the Trump administration. Okay, large tax cuts for workers and no tax on tips. Now that's a slippery slope when you think about that. You say no tax on tips and largest tax cuts for workers. What workers are we talking about? Because when he was at the convention, all he talked about was giving more and more tax cuts to more and more rich people. Now, I just want you all just to understand, when we look at this fully in full context, when President Trump speaks to all of this stuff about what he wants to do is for workers, don't fall for the okie doke. Please don't fall for the okie doke, because we've done that before in 2016. Don't fall for it. What his plan is to do is to give tax cuts to these gajillionaires, which don't pay any taxes. He wants to make sure that he wants to get back to trickle-down economics. He doesn't want the Trump tax cuts to expire, which they're going to expire next year in February. Just put that in your pipe and smoke it a little bit. Those are going to be gone. So now it's going to go back to the old Clinton era tax rate. So now during the Clinton tax rate, we enjoyed surpluses under Clinton, and President Bush came out with the $80 billion tax cut, and then that some of that money went back into the coffers, but Bush didn't go as far as Trump did. So now Trump is projecting to give them an additional $6 trillion on top of the tax cuts. Okay, 7, defend our Constitution, our Bill of Rights and fundamental freedoms, including our freedom of speech and freedom of religion, and for the right to keep and bear arms. All of those things are done as of right now, but actually, if you really look at it, our Constitution is already being prot and pulled by the Federalist Society, which we have 3 judges that were put on the Supreme Court by yours truly, Donald Trump, which has overturned Roe v. Wade, a woman's right to choose, has overturned Chevron, which gives the government the right to create policy and those type of things. And it also when you think about it, you look at the right to free speech, which you have people on different platforms can't even say a lot of things like would per se, let's just say YouTube. Largest tax cuts. Okay, the next one is to prevent the World War III and restore peace in Europe and the Middle East and build a great Iron Dome and missile defense shield of our entire country, all made in America. Which that's crazy. Why would you want to do that? Because nobody's not going to be able to penetrate our defenses in our country, in which an Iron Dome is no need because we have our big strong Navy that's on our borders. Okay. Number 9, end the weaponization of the government against the American people. The weaponization of the government is being done already by yours truly, the United States Supreme Court. Stop the migrant crime epidemic and demolish the foreign drug cartels and crushing gang violence and lock up violent offenders. Now, Trump, that's another slippery slope because we don't have an immigrant crime. Immigrant crime is way down. It's not even a drop in the bucket to the crime rate that we're seeing as American citizens. Stop the migrant, rebuild our cities, including Washington, D.C., and make them safe and clean and beautiful again. That's already been done under President Biden's Build Back Better Act, which no Republicans back. They didn't want to back that project, but they're out there touting and making it seem like they're the ones that put this bill into place, in which they didn't, in which President Biden put these bills back in place so that way it can get American people back to work. Next one, strengthen and modernize our military and making it without a question the strongest and most powerful in the world. It already is. We're the only country on the face of the planet that spends the most money on our military. We spend almost close to $1 trillion, in which he wants to push this up over $1.5 trillion. And I'm like, why would you do that when we got a lot of people that are out here living on the streets, can't find affordable housing, and all of this right here is just going to pretty much push the deficit even higher. Next one, keep the U.S. dollar the world's reserve currency. It still is. Fight for and protect the Social Security and Medicare with no cuts, including no changes to retirement. If you ask former Governor Scott, that's their automatic proposal, that they want to cut entitlement programs. They want to do away with Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare. Those are gone under Agenda 2025. I don't know why are they sitting here on this platform of 20 reasons, not 20 reasons, but 20 platform items of what they're going to do once they get there. Okay, the next one is cancel electric vehicle mandate and cut costly and burdensome and regulation, in which that really doesn't bother anybody, because there are a lot of electric vehicles on the road, and what the government is doing is buying electrical grids where they can be able to plug into and be able to charge their vehicles, and which is a good thing for our environment per se. I'm not all in on electric because we're still tearing down trees and building grids and stuff, in which we're using basic items just to continue to keep it going. Okay. The next one is cancel, cut the federal funding for schools and pushing critical race theory, race gender ideology, and other inappropriate racial, sexual, and political content on our children. And Project 2025, it abolishes the Department of Education. That's gone. All the states will be in charge of our kids' curriculum. It won't come from the federal level, so that way we can be able to play this on an equal playing field. And Rich, I think that critical race theory should be taught in every school across the country, because it talks about what indigenous people and what African American people had to go through during their struggles to get back to be able to be at a position of where we're at inside of this country. The next one is keep men out of women's sports. I agree on that, because I don't think that transgender men should be playing in sports with women or vice versa. 18, deport pro-Hamas radical and make our college campuses safe and patriotic again. Our country First Amendment right gives us the right to the freedom to assemble and to the freedom to redress grievances for our country. That's number one. So in other words, if you say you're going to take away that particular thing from college campuses and from the right for institutions of higher learning to stop for protest, is wrong. And that's just pretty much a contradiction of what you're saying to your number 7 key of your 2020 agenda platform. Number 19, secure our elections, including same-day voting and voter identification, and paper ballots and proof of citizenship. We already do that. So how much more do you want? You want an election cycle, but he won't talk about all the Republicans around the country have passed similar laws saying that even if you vote for your presidential candidate, it will leave it up to the state's legislators to enact on who they want to send a separate slate of electors to Washington, D.C. So meaning that they're going to take away your right and send their only slates of the electoral college of what they want to send. So say, for instance, the state of Florida, we vote for Kamala Harris as president of the United States and Donald Trump loses. Guess what the state of Florida is going to do? They're going to go on with their slate of electors, their congressional, our body of representatives will vote to send Trump electors to Washington instead of sending the electors of the voters of this state of what they want to put into office. And number 20, unite our country by bringing it to the new and record levels of success. We're already there. Our economy is the best in the world right now, and everybody hates it. And you have China that's already talking about how they want us to just do away with what we got going on. So with that being said, Rev, what you got? You got any questions or anything you want to add in on that?
Not on that particular
but this is a topic that we need to make sure. If you don't have if you want to read and you want to learn more about this, it will be inside of the description below of this video. So when you get an opportunity, I want you guys to go out and I want you to do your own due diligence. Learn and read it on your own. So that way you're in tune to what's happening now. Any final words before we get ready to close, Doc?
Yeah. Today, we stand at the crossroads where the courage to let go meets the courage to carry on. We've seen the damage that can be done when leaders cling to power, refusing to step aside. But we've also seen transformative power of humility and selflessness. So do me a favor, as we move forward, let's choose a different path. Let's celebrate leaders who recognize their own limitations and step aside with grace. Let's support those who put the needs of the many above their own, because we all have the capacity to lead in some way, shape, or form, to inspire and to serve. And we all have the power to create a world where leadership is not about personal gain, but about lifting each other up. So let's rise together and let's challenge and embrace the courage to step aside and the courage to carry on together. We can build a brighter future where leadership is a force for good, where the well-being of all is the ultimate goal. And I just want to close with this, that may the wisdom of others be a guiding light on all of our journey. I pray that your own wisdom be a beacon of your hope for those around you. And I pray that you remember, knowledge is a gift and wisdom is the treasure that grows from sharing it. So keep seeking, keep learning, keep praying, keep the faith, keep shining for your light for others to see, because you got this.
Awesome. Now, what I want to do is I want to just go ahead on. I want to thank you for those strong words from a strong individual. And in closing, I just want to thank everybody who tuned in on this evening. If you have any questions, just chime in. We do these shows nightly. Sometimes each and every other night we try to get on and we try to do these shows. But we're going to be bringing more in-depth conversations. But I want to turn everybody's attention to the quote that I have here on the screen. I'm going to zoom this out and give it a full screen because I think at this time right now, I think that this is the number one thing for us to be discussing. Is that Dr. King once said that the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of controversy and comfort, but where he stands at in times of challenge and controversy. So now we are at a standstill, America. We have one way that we can be able to go right, which going back with former President Trump as our commander-in-chief, and we knew how 4 years of his leadership and what the fallout and what it's done to our country, it divided our nation. Or we continue down the same path of what we're going into right now with the opportunity with us electing our first female president of the United States and one Kamala Harris. That's a huge contrast of what we all deal with as an individual country. Or do we continue to still stick with the same exact norms of the past where we hear the same old dog whistles that you can't do something, or you're a DEI hire, or you're not able to be that country or that shining city on the hill like Ronald Reagan once said. The question is, where do we stand and where do we go at from here? So in closing, I want to thank you all for tuning in to this evening's podcast with your host, the boss, and with yours truly, the chosen one. We want you to take this opportunity for you to get out and do the right thing. If you live inside of a state where you don't know where your polling place is, I want you to go on to Fair Fight. And you can go and look up and find out where is your polling place. And how can you be able to get yourself involved inside of the democratic process of what we're going to have to go through this election cycle? But I want to just say this one last thing. Don't fall for the okie doke and don't sit back and drink the Kool-Aid. Because right now, we are in a fight for our democracy and we are in a fight of our human liberties, of the pursuit of happiness, of what our Constitution gives us and awards us that right. So I want to thank you all for tuning in this evening. And thank you, the chosen one. And I guess we'll be seeing you guys again tomorrow because there's going to be some more fallout. Would President Obama endorse? Or is there something behind the scenes that's brewing? Some say it's going to be the individual right here to my left. They say that she's possibly eyeing her opportunity to be our commander-in-chief next. Who's to say? Could it be Gretchen Whitmer? Could it be Gavin Newsom that's over here on this side? Or will we just go ahead on and we're going to stick with yours truly over here? Or this one over here? You already know what I'm saying. You get it. You get my drift. But we're going to close it out. And we want to thank Joe for his 54 years of service to our country. And we want to thank you all for tuning in on this evening. And with that being said, God bless you all. And we look forward to this election cycle coming up. Real, any last words before we close out?
Nah.
All right, and we want to thank you guys for tuning in this evening. And we want to thank y'all one more time and look forward to seeing you guys tune back in tomorrow night on tomorrow night's cast. That being said, thank you, Two Fingers. Peace.
May God bless you and keep you. That's our prayer.
Yes, sir. And you are the resistance.